Welcome to another episode of What is Going On in the UC. And today I'm going to talk about the difference between the blessing and a worldly marriage. Okay, so something's wrong with the worldly marriages because people can't even defend why the fact they can't even have gay marriage. Okay, and the whole thing about gay marriage is it's able to be argued because it is viewed as marriage is just between a man and a woman, or it's basically just between two consenting adults, or basically based on the choices of two people. Okay, and that's what's wrong. I mean, that's why it's weak and cannot defend itself against all types of weird stuff, unnatural stuff like homosexuals wanting to get in on it. And this is why people are talking about slippery slope and stuff. You know, like people want to marry a kid, and people want to marry their own relatives, and people want to marry dog, and people want to marry, whatever. People want to legally marry themselves, okay? And all this kind of stuff because people think that marriage is based on two people's consent, and that's why outside marriage is totally assailable to all kinds of craziness. But the blessing is a different concept. The blessing is the original concept of God, which doesn't have anything to do primarily with rules. It has to do with structure that supports love. Okay? Love doesn't float in the air. Love is based on structure. There's an actual formula to love. Love is when you sow into the dream of another person. Now, the dream that we're sowing into is not just that person, but we're also simultaneously sowing into the dream of God. And obviously nature wants a certain kind of a harmony. And you know what? Being unnatural bothers us on the inside. And so true love is totally in harmony with not just the person you say you love, but your surroundings as well. Okay, and the purpose of this structure is so that joy can be experienced in a maximum way with everybody involved. What do you say? Everybody involved? Yes, the blessing is about everybody being involved in something that's joyful. That doesn't mean everybody's involved in your sexual activity as husband and wife. It means that everybody is a stakeholder in the marriage. Okay, now we're going to talk about these stakeholders. Okay, first stakeholder in a person's marriage from God's point of view is God. God wants to enjoy his creation. He wants to see the drama unfold as his masculinity is expressed through the man and his femininity is expressed through the woman coming together, okay? And when they can enjoy that, they can turn to him and say that he, did a good thing because he created something that they appreciate and enjoy, okay? So the first stakeholder is God. Another stakeholder is nature. We actually fit into nature because nature is male and female. Who's another stakeholder? The most immediate stakeholder that is not the man and the woman, the bride and the groom, is the parents of the bride and the parents of the groom. Now, in God's ideal, fully matured people should get married. And their marriage should be authorized by fully mature parents. So fully mature parents would be like, okay, my child is all grown up and I want to become partners with them in this effort of making the next generation. And so maybe even parents will approach the kid and say, are you ready to get married? I'm so excited, grandchildren and things like that. And you see that parents are stakeholders from the position of ownership of the lineage. We are so accustomed to like such extreme self-centeredness, we don't even think like this, but God did. God thought about the beauty of it being like a family affair. Now again, that does not mean your whole family's involved in your sexual activity as husband and wife, but they are stakeholders in that sexual activity, absolutely, because that sexual activity, everybody knows, is going to make the next generation of Johnsons, right? Family name Johnson, right? So they know that that sexual activity. So they're stakeholders. They actually have something to say about it. Now, ignorance says to their parents, I don't care what you have to say. And by doing that, you set up a bad karma. Because, one day you're going to want certain things you want to share with your kids, and your kids are going to be shoving like unprincipled, not thought out things down your throat, and you have to watch your kid go, into some kind of a self-centered relationship and self-centeredness just could rip them to shreds, you know what I'm saying? But you want some principle, you want some depth, some longevity, some future orientation to this kind of thing, and they won't even want to be listening to you. And that's the kind of karma you set up by doing that to your parents. Ultimately, you know, marriage or sex and coupling in Satan's point of view, or Satan's, you know, it just separates the generations, where we look at a girl, and as a guy, we look at a girl and be like, bam, I want to bag her. Maybe even I want to put a ring on her finger, but I don't even care whose family I have to take her from for myself, okay, so I can get her. You know, and that's satanic. That's immature, self-centered, okay, and it cuts the parents out. It basically relegates the parents to, hey, you better deal with it. Okay, like that kind of thing. That's not fluffy. That is not cool. That's not respectful. And you know, even if you know we don't have matching going on, and you know, like we do in the church, but a deference would be mature. Deference to our parents. Okay, deference to how they would like to see the lineage progress. That is a heavenly attitude. You know, so when we talked about, you know, kids, you can't just go out and cherry pick other people's sons and daughters and decide that you want to wrap them up in your clutches, you know, for your own personal joy. That is the man and the woman that you're looking at on the streets, no matter how delicious they may look. That's somebody else's son, somebody else's daughter. You know, I really would say, like, how dare you, you know, have thoughts about somebody else's son or daughter. Well, you know, God's whole system kind of really gives us a way to eat the fruit without that kind of treachery, without that kind of self-centeredness run amok, you know. Now, you don't want to have kids on the foundation of self-centeredness. You want to have your kids on the foundation of complete community involvement, okay? So that, you know, there's so many stakeholders in the future of that child. I mean, this is a great way to bring a child into the world. And, you know, two immature people just basically taking sexual love for themselves, you know, they're more like partners in crime. And what's the crime? The crime is cutting everybody else in the family out of the whole planning. Okay, this is one of the major differences between the blessing and so-called worldly marriage. All right, talk to you later.